The next theorem is Norton's theorem. On the same lines which we have done for Thevenin's theorem, on the same lines we will try to understand Norton's theorem. Okay, let us first try to understand the statement for Norton's theorem. Statement is, in a complex network, now you know what exactly we mean by complex network. A complex network is a electronic circuit which has number of sources and number of resistances, right? In a complex network consisting of number of sources and number of resistances, can be reduced to one single current source, and one single resistance. What was in Thevenin's theorem? A complex network can be reduced to one single voltage source and one single resistance. Here, Norton's theorem, it will be reduced to one single current source and one single resistance. Okay, one single resistance. So if you draw the diagram, say this is your complex network, and then this is the two terminal A and B. This will be reduced to one single current source. This is a symbolic representation for current source, and one single resistance which will be always connected in parallel to the current source. Remember, in Thevenin's theorem, we convert it into one single voltage source and one single resistance. That resistance was connected in series with the voltage source. But in Norton's theorem, when you are converting it into current source, it should be connected in parallel. If you remember, I have explained you practical current source and practical voltage source. So in practical voltage source, practical or ideal voltage source, I have connected internal impedance with series with the source, and in practical and ideal current source, I have connected the internal impedance in parallel to the current source. So this thing has to be remembered. Okay, so this is basically the simplified diagram for Norton's theorem. So in Norton's equivalent circuit, which will have a current source and a resistance. That current source will be called as IN, Norton's current, and the resistance will be called as Norton's resistance. Okay, so now what is IN? IN is the short circuit current flowing through the load when load resistance, load resistance is replaced by a short circuit. If you remember, in Thevenin's theorem, what we do is we remove the load resistance and we calculate open circuit terminal, right? In Norton's theorem, we will remove the load resistance, we will create a short circuit, and we will measure the short circuit current. Okay, we will measure the short circuit current, that will be IN. And Rn is exactly similar to what we have done in Thevenin's theorem. RTH and RN both are same. What is that? It is the total equivalent resistance, looked back from terminal A and B, from terminal A and B when the voltage source are short circuited or replaced by its internal impedance. But we are considering all the source as ideal, so we will just remove the source and we will create a short circuit exactly on the same lines to that of Thevenin's theorem. That is how we will calculate Rn. So we can replace a complex network by converting that entire circuit into one current source and one resistance. That current source will be called as IN and the resistance will be called as Rn. So this is how Norton's theorem will help you solve an electronic circuit. Of course, there will be number of steps which has to be followed. One by one we will follow the step and we will try to solve one electronic circuit using Norton's theorem. Having understood Norton's theorem, let us try to implement Norton's theorem to solve an electronic circuit. As I said, we have to follow few steps. One by one we will follow the steps, and of course we will be able to solve an electronic circuit using Norton's theorem, right? So this is the circuit diagram. You have multiple resistance and a voltage source. We have to, of course, we can design the we can solve the same circuit by using KCL and KVL, but by using Norton's theorem, it will help you to make the circuit, solving the circuit much more easier. Okay, so the question is calculate IL and VL across RL. That means this is the load resistance across through which the current which is flowing is IL and the voltage drop is VL. So we need to calculate IL and VL, okay, by applying Norton's theorem. There are three resistance, R1, R2 and R3. R1 and R2, R1 is 20 ohms, R2 is 10 ohms, R3 is 20 ohms again, and V1 is 5 volt. Okay, so we have to go step by step. Step 1. What it says, it is similar to Thevenin's theorem. What we did in Thevenin's theorem is remove RL, calculate open circuit voltage. Before calculating open circuit voltage, we have to see if there is any resistance through which current is not flowing. Of course, as it is an open circuit, if there is resistance on the open circuit, that resistance has to be removed. On the same lines, Norton's theorem also, what we do is remove RL, but in case of Norton's theorem, we don't keep the circuit open. Remove RL and replace it with a short circuit. That means RL has to be removed, but there is a short circuit which has to be created. Okay. Once that short circuit is created, check and see if any resistance through which current is not flowing. Again, we have to check this thing. But in this case, see, I have written here resistance immediately in parallel with short circuit. So we will do, we will simplify this circuit. In the first step, what will happen is this is a potential, this is resistance R1, this is resistance R3, there is resistance R2, and we have removed RL, and in place of RL we put a short circuit. So this is R1, this is this is R2, and this is R3, this is V1, and we have created a short circuit according to the first step. Okay, the first rule. Now what we have to check is if there is any resistance through which current is not flowing. I'll make you understand what I mean. So when this is the positive terminal, current will flow through R1. Okay, current will flow through R1, right? So R1 will be there in the circuit. Now at this point there is two branches, parallel branch, right? And there is on the one branch you have R2 and the other branch has a short circuit. That means in this point the resistance is 0, short circuit. And when resistance is 0, what happens is current becomes infinite. That means whatever current which will be flowing up to this point, all the current will flow through the short circuit and no current will flow through the R2. So that is why what has to be checked? We wrote check and see if any resistance through which current is not flowing. How to check? यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है resistance. If there is any resistance immediately in parallel with the short circuit. Yes, we have. In immediate parallel we have R2, so you have to remove R2 because no current will flow through the R2. All the current which will coming up to this point, because of the short circuit the current will flow like this. It will not flow through R2. So if there is no current through the R2, we have to, there is no significance of R2 left, so we remove R2. And then the current will flow like this, right? So it will flow through R3. So R1 and R3 should be retained, but R2 should be eliminated because no current will flow through R2. So the simplified circuit will be like this. Okay, this is the power supply, V1, resistance R1, short circuit, this is resistance R3, and this is point A, B. This is R1, this is R3, this is V1. Okay, now what happens is, what you can see is, in this circuit these two resistors are in series, so current remains same. So if you want to calculate short circuit current, it is very simple. IN will be the total voltage divided by the total resistance. So what is total voltage? Vn. Total resistance, it is R1 plus R3. So what is V1? V1 is 5 volt. And what is R1 and R3? R1 and R3 both are 20 ohms. So 20 plus 20. 5 by 40, 1 by 8, 1 by 8 is 0.125. As you are calculating current, the unit will be ampere. So this is the first thing we have calculated, I1. I hope you have understood the step, right? In Thevenin's theorem, we just open the circuit and see if there is a resistance through which current is not flowing. So in that case, if there is a resistance in series with the open circuit, of course no current will flow in that. In this case, we have to create a short circuit and we have to see if there is any resistance immediately in parallel to the short circuit, because in that resistance current will not flow. So we have to remove that resistance. In the step 2 we have to calculate a total equivalent resistance, that is Rn. We have to calculate Rn here. Okay, so Rn exactly on the same lines that we do in RTH. Okay, so this is the circuit diagram. We have to come back to the circuit diagram. Positive, negative, this is R1, this is R3, this is R2. Now we keep this terminal open. The short circuit has to be removed. So this is the terminal. This is R1, R2, R3, and this is V1, positive, negative. And when you have to calculate total equivalent resistance, voltage source has to be short circuited. So what you have to do is short circuit the voltage source. Start from terminal A and go to terminal B. Draw the simplified diagram. When you start from A, you have parallel branch. On one branch you have this R1 in series with R3, and R2 is in parallel. Okay, so this is R1, this is R3, and this is R2. So and that terminal is B. So Rn is R1 plus R3 parallel R2. Okay, so Rn is, what is R1 plus R3? R1 plus R3 is 20 parallel, sorry, 20 plus 20, that is 40 parallel 10. So 40 parallel 10. So the formula is for parallel resistance, of course, if same value then half. If this is a different value of resistance in parallel, 40 parallel 20. So it will be R1 into R2 upon R1 plus R2. So Rn will be 400 upon 40 plus 10 is 50. So this is This is 8 ohms. 40 by 5, that means 8 ohms. So now we have done with the two steps, right? We have calculated IN, we have calculated RN. So we have reduced the complex network into one current source and one resistance, right? Then in the next step, we will draw the Norton's equivalent circuit, and then we will substitute the values to get the answer. Next is we will draw the Norton's equivalent circuit, step 3. So Norton's equivalent circuit, just refresh yourself with the Norton statement. Complex network is converted into one single current source and one single resistance. That resistance should be connected in parallel to the current source. So simply draw a current source and a resistance in parallel. This is Rn, this is In. Let this be terminal A and B. And we calculated the value of In, which was 0.125 ampere, and Rn was 8 ohms. Okay, so the last step, this is the third step, Norton's equivalent circuit. And then at the fourth step, you have to reconnect, step 4, we have to reconnect RL, that means the resistance which we have removed in the first step, the resistance through which the resistance of which we need to calculate the current and voltage. We have removed in the first step. We will reconnect RL and calculate IL and VL. Okay, so step 4, draw the same circuit again. This is Rn, this is In, and this is RL. Okay, so this is RL. In is 0.125 ampere, Rn is 8 ohms, and RL is 15 ohms. So the formula for IL will be In into Rn upon Rn plus RL. So we need to substitute the value in this formula to get the answer. So what is In? 0.125 multiplied by Rn is 8, and then Rn is 8 plus 15. So this value will be 1 by 1 upon 23. 1 upon 23. Okay, so 1 upon 23, approximately the value will be 0.4. 0.4 ampere. And what is VL? VL is IL multiplied by RL. So it will be 0.4 multiplied by 15, right? VL is equal to IL multiplied by RL. So it will be 0.4 multiplied by 15. So this value will be 0.6 volt. So even if there is 10 different values of RL, by Norton's theorem, we can remove the RL in the first step. We can reduce the entire circuit to one current source, one resistance, and then we can substitute 10 different values of RL in the last step and calculate 10 different values of IL and VL. So in this circuit, we had only one value of RL. We have calculated IL and VL. So you have to just keep applying the process, the steps, and once you complete the step, you will end up with the answer. So this is all about Norton's theorem and its implementation to solve an electronic circuit. I hope you have understood.
Next, we will try to understand Millman's theorem. Let us first try to understand the statement, then go back to the diagrammatic representation. You will understand in that way much better. So the first is statement, it state that when number of sources say V1, V2, V3 up to Vn are connected in parallel with their internal resistance, say R1, R2, R3 up to Rn respectively, the arrangement that means the sources and the internal resistance connected in parallel, the arrangement can be replaced by one single voltage source V and one single resistance are connected in series with the source. Okay, so it states that when number of sources V1, V2, V3 up to Vn with their internal resistance R1, R2, R3 up to Rn connected in parallel, if they are connected, number of sources are connected in parallel, then this entire circuit can be reduced to a one single voltage source V and one single resistance R, all the internal resistance together, single resistance R connected in series with the source. Let me just show you the diagrammatic representation. So say this is an arrangement. Okay, so if this is an arrangement, say I will say this is V1, V2, V3 up to Vn connected in parallel with their respective internal resistance R1, R2, R3 up to Rn, then this entire circuit will be reduced to one single voltage source V and one single resistance R. And when load resistance is connected, when of course the resistance across which the output voltage will be taken, if load resistance is connected, what you can see is in this circuit diagram IL, that means load current which will be flowing in the circuit, you can see R and RL will be in series, so same current will flow through the resistance. So IL will be total voltage divided by total resistance, so it will be V upon R plus RL. Right, IL is equal to V upon R plus RL. So that is how you can calculate load current, where V is plus minus V1 into G1 plus minus V2 into G2 plus minus V3 into G3 up to plus minus Vn into Gn upon G1 plus G2 plus G3 up to Gn. Okay, R is 1 upon G, that is 1 upon G1 plus G2 plus G3 up to Gn, where G is conductance, that is reciprocal of resistance. Okay, So that is the value of G. And if you want to calculate G1, of course it is, as I said, it is reciprocal of resistance. So G1 is 1 upon R1, G2 is 1 upon R2, G3 is 1 upon R3 up to Gn, which is 1 upon R1. So a circuit with number of sources with their internal resistance, if connected in parallel, can be reduced to one single voltage source and one single resistance, so that it becomes very easy for you to calculate current and voltage across the load resistance if you have different values of load resistance available to it. So that is how Millman's theorem simplifies an electronic circuit, where you have to analyze the circuit for different values of load resistance. So but this is only true when the sources with their internal resistance are connected in parallel. So this is Millman's theorem. We will take one example to understand how exactly it helps you solve the circuit.